I'm so happy to be here with you today. My name is Tuesday May Thomas, and this is your weekly tarot energy forecast for November 7th through 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, through the 14th of November. November 7th through November 14th of 2017. I am so very grateful that you are here. I welcome you all of the new subscribers to this station, and thank you everyone for your support with my new live streams. I know there's been some technical difficulties, and I'm so grateful to be getting through them all now before the Mercury retrograde sets in later this month. This week, I'm going to have a very special guest on the couch with me, so please do stay tuned for that. For now, let's get to our cards. We're going to shuffle, take a nice deep breath in and out. Oh, we already have a pupper. Calling in our angels, our guides, those ascended masters, divine beloved ones, who help hold the doors open for us, who help shine the light and hold space for our most divine blessings, our most divine ways of understanding and embodying our truth along this journey of life. We thank you and we welcome you. We call in our totems, all those blessed animals that help along our pathway. And we also call in those loved ones that are perhaps passed from this life, that are still holding on in the ethers, supporting us, uplifting us, protecting us, and guiding us on our way. Okay, we're going to split the deck in half. We're going to take 3 from here. Consciousness. Woo! You know we love to meditate around here. Laziness again. Oh, okay, we're going to have a talk about that. And one more, let's see. Completion. Okay, this is powerful. This is powerful. And then we're going to take the second deck and we're going to grab 3. Adventure. We've been here before. She's still calling. And we are the world. This is another repeat. And let's see, where else are we guided? Morality. Okay, and then we had that one card that fell out. Silence. Beautiful. So there's a lot of third eye activity here in this reading this week, and it doesn't surprise me. As I set up the cards and have a look, it's very, very, very interesting because the top row, we have consciousness, and look at that third eye, ablaze. We have completion, and look at this third eye connecting, being put into place. That's a major arcana, and right next to it another major arcana is silence, the silence card, and again the third eye activation. So last week our reading was all about coming into our success, embodying our truth on newer and deeper levels in the world, and having the experience of what that is. But also last week the guidance was not to stop, to keep going, not to rest on your laurels as it is, and not to get complacent or comfortable, not just yet. There's still work to do. And the theme from last week was going from success to success by 3 by 3 by 3. Now, and isn't it interesting? We have these third eye cards, and there's 3 of them. I love how that stuff works. Okay. But underneath it, lying underneath, we still have this laziness card to contend with. And it's not bad that it's here. It just shows us that, yes, indeed, there is still work that's bleeding into this week. But the card that fell out, the popper that we had, morality, gives me a clue into what it is, these next levels of laziness or complacency, where it is that we get to work on it. In this morality card, we'll see this figure, and this figure has no heart. There's no eyes. There's not even a third eye. There's a mouth, and there's hands, and everything is just so, and very sort of prim and proper. But the heart is gated, and there's actually no way into the heart. But we'll also notice that this is a card of the gray, and it's a card of the clouds, which means it's a card of the mind. Morality speaks to control. It speaks to the binary world system, the right and the wrong, the left and the right, the yes and the no. And ultimately, it's calling us to allow those things that no longer serve us in those realms that we've held onto for so long to be gently dissolved so that we can come anew into our adventure. And we'll get to this shortly. And so where in your life, you've been doing work, you've been You've been cutting cords, you've been blessing, you've been writing your energy letters, you've been forgiving yourself, forgiving others. You've been learning how to really heal your life, and not just for that to be an idea in your world, but for it to become actualized as your reality, where you are going through the learning curves of understanding what it's going to have to take for you to begin to truly embody the consciousness level that you know is yours, and also so that you can be free to live the adventure of your life unbound by the past, unbound by conditions that perhaps were given to us as children, by societies, cultures, traditions, and all that good stuff. So, where are we holding on? What are we trying to control? Think about your health. Are you trying to control your health in one way or another? And it could be in a positive way that is healthy for you, and it could be in a way that is that's causing greater unhealth and greater stress in your life. What are you holding on to? What can you release of those things that you're holding on to, so that you can begin to soften around the edges and move from the restrictions of yes and no, right and wrong, there's only two answers, to a place of what about the other, to a plane of trinary. Okay, trinary consciousness, I'll put a link right here. I've been making little videos, and there's only a couple so far, but in the last one, Trinary 2, we go into how many of us, this collective of us, are beginning to move out of the binds and the limitations that the world proposes to us, in light of gaining a deeper understanding of how love works. And we're learning that through practicing self-love, through practicing in healing our lives, and ultimately setting ourselves on fire, getting ourselves turned on about life, the life we want to live, and ultimately then setting us free from those denser gravitational fields of the grid, of those things that are made up in the mind and that keep us bound into the matrix of this world. Remember, where we're going and where we can be right now is heaven on earth, and the earth plane is different from the world plane. The world plane is where we work out all our stuff so that we can unravel those things that bind, so that we are naturally liberated and aligned with those aspects of us that are always true, have always been there, so that we can experience heaven on earth, not just for ourselves, but to share it in our communities and our families and loved ones. Health. Relationships. Who are you trying to control? What are you trying to control about them or about the relationship? Are you only seeing tunnel vision? Are you only seeing that there's one way in or one way out? And is that one way in or one way out all your way? You know, we're being invited here with this laziness to, again, get over ourselves. And I say that in the most gentle way, because I know it's work. It's a lot to turn over the stones, right? We talked about this a little bit last week. Like, how will we ever really truly know freedom and liberation unless we go to the dark side of ourselves, unless we overturn some stones and really look at our stuff, really look at how can I be a better person to myself, really, first and foremost. And it's from that that we learn how to extend from that integral, authentic self out into the world and share that with others. So we set ourselves free of right, wrong, yes, no, judgments, which are really limitations that not only hold us back, but they hold others back. If I'm going to project a judgment onto you, well, then I'm only giving you that much wiggle room to be present in your life for. And that's how you're going to show up to me. Unless I begin to loosen the moorings and consider that there could be other ways and other possibilities, then I will never see you in that true light. So I know for years with family, you know, when you go into healing your life, for me, there were family members that I was like, oh man, this stuff is really deep and icky and sticky and doesn't feel good. I don't like being here, but I know this is an opportunity to heal and to clear this stuff so that I can ultimately be free and move on, that I don't have to drag this stuff with me. And one of the big things was that I had to learn to see people in my life that had hurt me, that had done me wrong, that had betrayed me, that, you know, fill in the blank. We all have our list that we can write. But I had to learn how to see them differently. I had to learn how to forgive the past and release the past so that I can easier and easier and little by little come into the moment and begin to change my perceptual lenses of how I viewed those family members. I began to learn how to place love there, even though I didn't want to, and I felt like I needed to protect myself, and I had a lot of anger and issues with these individuals. Yet, as I learned That ultimately freedom is not just about me feeling free, but it's about me offering that to you too, as I ascend. Then what was needed was I had to look at these individuals in a different way. I couldn't look at them in the same way of like, you hurt me, you betrayed me, you let me down, I could never again, blah, blah, blah. Like I had to let all that go. If I wanted to be healed and allow the healing to just be in general, for not just me, but for all, for the highest good, I had to drop all that. And I had to start practicing and learning to see things differently, learning to see these people differently. And even if it was little by little at a time, I had to change my memory of who they were. I had to rewrite the story, rewrite a new definition, and even just begin to practice and imagine that they could be kinder, that we could be kinder to each other. And that took a lot of work, but you know what? When we do that, we're growing new synapses. And when we're growing new synapses, we're creating new connections with the matrix, with the grid, the collective consciousness that is. So we're plugging into new paradigms of possibility that are not bound to what we've been used to from the old. Okay, and if that makes sense, blessings. And if it doesn't, stick with me on this channel, because we go in and we break that stuff down more and more and more as we're growing together. So again, where in your life are you only seeing tunnel vision? Where in your life are you holding on to that you have all the answers? You are the only one who really knows. Your morals are the morals. Your values are the values. You are right, and only you are right. And now granted, there's a truth in your heart that we always honor and listen, and we're always in a practice and an apprenticeship with our hearts, and learning how to bow to that, to honor that, to allow that to be the truth. Yet there is a fine line, like I gave with the example of the family members. I knew from my healing, if I was going to move on, if I was ever going to be free of experiencing those experiences over and over again, of being a victim in my life and of being hurt and painful, and then projecting that onto the new people who would come in, and never letting myself free and never letting them show me who they could really be outside of those paradigms, well, that's laziness. And it's really only laziness when you become aware. So all of this spiritual work you've been doing has elevated you and has brought you into new levels of awareness. So all of this healing work that you're doing, all of this meditating, all of this writing energy letters, all of this spiritual work you're doing is unraveling, right, who you used to be. So as we get deeper and deeper into our energy work and our spiritual work and our self-love work, the old self begins to unravel. And if you don't know, if nothing comes to mind, then there's other areas that you're lazy, that you can step up your game in. But if there's personal issues, relationship issues that have to do with individuals in your life, that you know it's time to stop being lazy and start doing the work, even if it's just baby steps, this is the week, November 7th to November 14th, to begin embodying the courage and allowing your light sight, that is your third eye vision, thine eye be single, to begin to practice seeing love and only love. Because that's how we gain entryway to the adventure of your life, the adventure of you living the truth of you. How beautiful is that? What is there in your life that you seek to have more of? What experiences in your life do you want to have that you haven't had yet? What is the adventure of a lifetime? Well, I'll tell you, it's an orgasmic life. It's a life that you love to wake up for every single day. It's a life that you're excited to live. It's a life of knowing that you're honoring the truth in your heart, yet it's divinely balanced with the sweet, soft innocence of childness, of childlike being, of embodying the child, of not having all the answers. It's the complete opposite of this. It's not having all the answers. It's knowing that, well, I'm trusting my heart, I'm moving forward one step at a time, and I'm going to let that one step at a time show me the next step at a time. It's not having everything figured out by any means. And it's definitely not just lounging and not paying attention, and it's not disregarding yourself. Ultimately, this is you. This is all about you, right? And from you, the environment that you create within yourself, all of the environment around you is co-created also. So moving up, this is super, super powerful. And I feel, because we have the completion card that is a major arcana, and right next to it the silence card, I really feel this week that meditation is a big one for us. Meditate, meditate, meditate. Always, every day, if you can. Even just small doses, a little dose will do you. consciousness. This is all the third eye. So, and this is also a card of the gray here, right? Which is where morality is. But what it's saying is that consciousness, when we practice our practices, our meditation practices, is that we get lifted beyond the veils of this earthly limitation perception, right? And we become lifted beyond the clouds into a place where that third eye vision, thine eye be single, the pineal gland becomes activated and elevated. And it's through that light sight, through that third eye vision, that we begin to see ourselves in our true light, that we begin to be able to really see a greater picture of what this life is about and how we would like to contribute to it. In this way, we are also connecting with a higher power, with a higher source. When you meditate, what are you doing? You're creating a state of relaxation in your being. And ultimately, what I'll say is that relaxation is your natural state of being. And when you are fully relaxed, when your body is not stressed, when your mind is not stressed, and you can just simply be, well, that's a true gift. And from that place of non-stress, of non-constriction, everything is revealed. Everything is revealed. We don't have to fall back onto old this and that, old right and wrongs, and old past memories. The past doesn't exist. All there is the now. And our meditation helps to bring us into a new level of consciousness. That's where you're invited this week. Because with that new level of consciousness, that's what's gonna light your path. So as you have the courage to embody this child, and this is a very grounding card, this is a card of the earth. So this means that the adventure is here on the earth plane, right? Sure, you can have some mystical, magical meditations, but this week it's saying like, we're gonna bring this down to earth, right? Last week was success to success by 3 by 3 by 3. And now we have these 3 cards: consciousness, completion, and silence. So this week, our success 3 by 3 by 3 is all about getting in tune with the higher plane, with the higher self that you are. If you would like, I have an ebook, a mini ebook called The Higher Self, Blueprint of Mastery. I'll put a link right here, and you get it for free when you subscribe to my website. It's on the first page of my website. All of my books and information, there's links down in the description box. Please do stop by. It'll help you understand and gain insight to this new language of what we're talking about when we speak about the higher self, right? Because ultimately that's the part of you that is divinely and intimately connected to the truth in your heart and to a higher power that only has the best in store for you, that only wants the best for you, that is really the root of love and light in this universe. And that's you connected to it. And for some of us, we can stay connected 24/7 to that higher self. We got it going on. Not to say that we still shan't meditate. You know, I think meditation is a lifestyle ultimately, right? That we can stay in tune with that one love, with that unity consciousness, because that is ultimately our freedom and where we're going. So silence. Where can you practice silence this week? And again, we have the third eye. And I know we just had a full moon here recently, but it does speak to the moon. And you know, when we become quiet, we become receptive. When we turn off the mouth and when we turn the TVs off and the volumes down and the ringer off and the phone off, the computer off and all that stuff, what happens is we become inept at accessing a different level of communion with the divine, with our higher self, with our animal totems, with our divine spirit guides and all those divine beings and light ones. And we are given entryway to a place that has the answers. So whatever answers you're seeking this week, maybe you're saying, I don't really know what my issues are. I don't know. I need to really journal about like, who can I start forgiving, or who can I start seeing in a different way? You know, so that they can start showing up for me in a different light, so that I can just start experiencing peace in this area of my life without having to repeat pain, sorrow, self-doubt, self-sabotage. Where can I set myself free? And these are great questions to contemplate in your meditation. And so because it's the silence card, it also speaks to literally the practice of silence. Have you ever gone a day where you've spent 5 minutes on purpose not talking. I mean, besides your meditation, but being in the world and like not talking, being at work or at school or something and not talking. Have you ever practiced it for a few hours, for a full 24 hours, for a full week or 10 days? I know those of you who have practiced Vipassana, right? You know all about it. And it's in my book, The Reiki Apprentice, where I, out of the blue, I didn't even have it planned, that I fell into practicing silence for a full week. And it completely changed my world. It rocked my world. Number one, because I got to see all the just the superfluous thoughts and the inappropriate and like unnecessary places that my mind was going at a constant. And it also put me in tune with that mind. That is my mind. And I created a relationship with it. And that's what you're being asked into this week also, is to create a relationship with who you are in the silent space. And for some people, they're like, I hate being in silence. It's just my mind drives me crazy. But that's a part of the initiation, so that eventually you get through that into the silence, into the peace. So allow yourself to go there, to sit, to contemplate, to perhaps even practice not speaking for a day, a half a day, an hour, or whatever. And you know, this is even really powerful in certain situations with others when you don't feel that you want to speak. You know, if someone asks you a question, I'm going to give you permission right now. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to answer. You can remain silent, right? And you can maybe offer an answer at another time, or you can maybe not. But just know that you never have to feel pressured into answering to anyone for any reason at all. You can maintain your silence. And in that silence, be divinely guided into what is the right path forward from there. It's very, very powerful. People, you know, we get used to feeling like we have to have an answer. We have to, you know, solve all the problems of our friends, of our families, of the world. Yet, in those silent spaces, it's the space in between that holds so much potent juiciness. It's like at a club, and there's the song, and it's got the beat, and you're all grooving, and then all of a sudden the beat drops, and the beat drops, and the beat drops, and it disappears, and it's like the silent space in between, and it's so freaking groovy, it's so awesome, and then boom, the beat comes back, and it's like, yeah, and it's like music, it's like sharing a conversation. The pauses, the breath, the moments where you consider, and there's just open space in between. That space is fertile. It's sacred. There's a lot of divine wisdom in there. And that wisdom is calling you this week, because this is a completion time for you. So as you continue going success to success by 3, your meditation practice is going to be paramount this week, because in that meditation practice, this is a huge move. You are going to realize a part of your life, and it might have to do with, oh my goodness, I get it. I see who I can start forgiving. I see who I can start to change my thoughts about and set them free and set myself free. It can be so many different things, but whatever it is, it's going to be that breakthrough point where you're going to realize what you had not realized before, and it's going to set you free. It's going to allow you this final piece of the puzzle. It's going to allow you for that third eye, that light sight, to truly get turned on, truly, metaphysically, multidimensionally, mind, body, spirit, emotions, for all those parts of you to come into divine alignment that you can complete with a certain part of your life, of patterns, of habits, of ways that you've done things, or ways that you've just seen yourself, seen others, and seen the world, so that you can ultimately be free. And this is huge. Completion. It's done. The wheel of change is going to click this week. And there's a fire engine in the background. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's just, I take that as a universal confirmation. We are completing this week so that we can be born anew. And I know we keep being born, we keep having babies, but this is like the baby is born, and now this learning curve of like the baby being here, that being the new version of you, your creations that you're birthed. It's like, okay, we went through that last week. We were like, okay, don't stop now, take a little pause, sure, but like keep going, keep going. There's still more to embody, more to share, more ways to be with these gifts that were here, and to share them. And now this is saying like, keep at it, because what you're going to gain insight into is this new level that brings everything to a completion point. so that the next opening, the next level of where you're going with these gifts that you've birthed, yourself, your projects, and all else, is going to be a new level. It's going to be a new level. You're going to complete that rung, like in Donkey Kong, if you're old enough, or those old video games. I know when I was a kid, my stepbrother used to come over and we used to play them. And you'd have to survive. You'd have to get past a certain level before you can go to level 2. It's the same thing. That's where we're going. Universe wants to upgrade us to whether you feel like you're going into a 2.0 version of yourself, a 3.0, a 5.5, whatever you're going. The universe wants us to have the best, because that is the nature and the law of love and of the highest good. And so it is. And when we allow ourselves to trip the light fantastic, we gain entryway to this adventure of self, this adventure, this childlike innocence of trusting the heart even more on even deeper levels. And so we become one with the world. We begin to see the world in a different way. We begin to see other people in a different way. There's no way I could have ever began to see not only these people, these family members in my life in a new way, but the entire world in a new way, without placing love there, without forgiving them, without allowing and consciously, not just by accident, but consciously deciding and making it so that I was going to start to see them differently, that I was going to start to place love there instead of repeating the same old memories and patterns, that I was going to take responsibility for my joy, for my healing, for my life. And so can you. And that's what this week is about. And we've had this card before. This is the 0 point. This is you becoming one with yourself. This is you accessing silence and your third eye and becoming attuned through the third eye and the heart. And we have the blessing of this completion, which brings you, if you haven't met them yet, your new crew. There's like new members of your team, new members of your, if you call it a tribe, or your family, or at your workplace, or just even one new person that comes into your life that makes you feel like this, makes you feel whole, makes you feel like, oh, I get this. We are the world. There is no judgment. This is unity consciousness. This is the place that we access when we say yes to love, not just once, but on repeat. And in that way, we develop our spiritual will. Spiritual will is you having the power and the conscious choice to choose love in your thoughts, action, words, and deeds over and over and over. And ultimately, that willpower, that spiritual will, becomes stronger than the other will, the non-spiritual will, the worldly will that forces us and puts us in patterns of lack, of scarcity, of fear, of unsafety. We're moving beyond that. We're completing. Whatever that is for you, it could be one specific thing or many things. We are completing, and we are going here. We are entering through our oneness, through our individual unity consciousness. We are entering the one that is unity consciousness. And through that one, we enter the gateway of the 0, which is 0 point energy, which is almighty love. And so it is. I'm so very grateful for all of this time we get to spend together. Please send me your comments, your questions. If you have any questions, I have my email address in the description box below. Check out my links. Check out my books. I have a free book called The Nowosphere on iBooks and also on Amazon. It's a mini book, and soon I will be having and releasing the Nowosphere book 2. Sign up for my newsletter, get your free Higher Self ebook at my website, tuesdaymaythomas.com, and that way you will receive 1 or 2 newsletters, which I call love letters, every month, keeping you up to date about my releases, blogs, workshops, and such. Thank you so much for being here. I am so very grateful. Namaste.